Around this time last year, I was temporarily living in Europe and living out a lifelong goal of getting to travel to as many places as possible. Every city, every country that I went to was incredible in its own way. I'd always get people asking me, oh, where was your favorite place that you visited? And truly, I could never choose. Coming home was a return to the regular. I went back to my job, started up at school again, and even though it's felt like I've only been back for a month at this point, it has somehow been 9. But recently, things have started to slow down again, and I found myself really missing those adventures I had last year. And while I can't travel to those places nearly as easily as I once could, I can finally go through the mountain of unedited photos on my hard drive and share them with the world. And while I said I could never really pick a favorite place I went to, this one would usually pop up as a potential answer when I was asked that question. I had wanted to visit Greece practically my whole life, and even though I went during the off-season and spent a weekend driving around the island completely alone, I had a great time. I loved it, and I know I'm going to go back one day, hopefully during the summer this time, so I can see everything in full swing. But until then, here's my little slice of Santorini. Okay, I just got to my Airbnb. I am finally in Santorini. But finding this place was so stressful because I do not understand why. My phone does not understand Santorini roads. So it would be telling me to turn right when it was on a straight road, or it would tell me to turn right and I would turn right and it would be a dead end, or it would be it would recalculate instantly. I don't understand why, but it took me maybe 30 minutes to drive what it said was going to take 5. So this was a very stressful experience, but I'm here now. And I'm ready to spend my first night in Santorini / first afternoon, really, walking around and taking photos of all the super pretty buildings. Okay, I thought I'd take a video on my phone to show my sad little camera setup for my actual camera. This lens is so old. It's, I think, 10 years old at this point. So the lens cap does not stay on at all. Let me see if I can take it off. It's taped on because, like I said, it will not stay on otherwise. And then the elastic also keeps it on. But also, I don't know if you can see, it has a UV filter on the lens. It does not come off. And that's not good because there's I'm sure you can see, there's dirt trapped in between the UV filter and the lens. So a lot of my videos and photos have these weird little marks on them now. I really can't put into words how excited I was to be in Santorini. Ever since I'd seen the photos of the white and blue houses overlooking the ocean, I knew that this was somewhere I wanted to go. Even though the timing wasn't ideal, I didn't care. I figured a rainy March Santorini was better than none at all. Santorini was my first introduction to Greece, and it was where I learned 2 things. 1, Greece is filled with the friendliest stray cats you have ever met in your life, and there are so many of them. And 2, all of the architecture is stunning. Previously, when I thought of Grecian architecture, I'd think of what I imagine a lot of people picture, which is more ancient Greek ruins style, iconic buildings that still influence architecture design around the world today, all that stuff. But there was so much more than that in Santorini. Walking through some of the towns, as well as driving around the island, gave me the perfect chance to really practice some architecture photography. That, combined with the fact it was the unit we were currently covering in my photography class before I came to Greece, meant that it was one of the big things I focused on during this trip. Okay, so I would say so far the first day in Santorini has been a success. It is really interesting to come here in March because this is like a beach summer destination. It's very quiet, there's not a lot of people here, which I don't mind because I'm planning to mainly like drive around and explore the island. I really like the architecture here, which was the main reason it's the main reason I wanted to come here, and I think it's the main reason a lot of people want to come, is those iconic white and blue houses. But I also really just like the abandoned look of a lot of buildings here, which I don't know if that's because of the time of year or what, but it's pretty cool. I'm just eating popcorn on the beach and watching the sunset right now, but I would say so far it's a success.
Head west.
Oh my god, what is happening? Because 2 of my 4 days in Santorini were pretty rainy and a lot of things were closed due to it being the off season, I spent most of each day driving around to a new side of the island and exploring whatever I could find. Okay, I really got to see the whole island today because, let's see if I can show it on here. I started around here, which was kind of where I was staying. I went down to Komari Beach and like that area because that had a coffee shop I knew was actually going to be open, and I went there every day. And then after that, I ended up going to the north, so all the way up here, because that was the only part of the island I hadn't really seen yet. I kind of have just been driving around, making my way down the little highways, the roads here. But I'm all the way, where am I? Oh yeah, I'm all the way down here now. Oh, hello. Hello, friend. Goodbye. Okay, just to give you an idea of what driving here has been like, my GPS was telling me to drive up that windy little road there. It's literally on the side of a cliff. Like, that's terrifying. I decided I'm not doing that because I feel like I will die. For anyone else who's seen the blue and white houses, when I say Santorini, you're probably picturing Ia. Ia is a northwestern coastal town carved into the side of a cliff overlooking the ocean. It was way too cold to go swimming when I was visiting, but I feel like in the summer it would be the perfect place to jump in a pool and watch the sunset. For anyone who is lucky enough to call Santorini home, or at least live closer than the 16-hour flight away that I have,
I'm very jealous that you're able to experience such a beautiful place with any amount of frequency. Hopefully one day I'll be back during the summer and I can get to see the island in a new light. But until then, I will definitely be looking at these photos over and over, wishing I was there.